about engaging in big reorganisations. That's why we said we're not going to have a top-down reorganisation. And we need to have better integration of services, but it's got to be done in an evolutionary way, not a revolutionary way that just throws everything up in the air. Because the costs and dangers of that for morale, for the waste of resources, for sort of frankly wasting money on bureaucracy are too big. So look, I know David Cameron made this promise and broke the promise, but I'm very, very serious about this promise. Sam, who asked a question about the head of social work. Hi, yeah. I think recognition's important. I know recognition doesn't solve all the issues in social work, but it seems to me that people who go into social work do it for the best of reasons, and they get an incredibly hard time in the sense that when they appear in the news and in the newspapers and in the media, it's all for bad reasons because there's some things go wrong, and it's time to start celebrating social work and what social work can do and does do for our country. I think it's really important to make sure that you take seriously professional development of social workers, which seems to me to be a big part of this. And look, again, it is about making sure that people aren't so overstretched that they just are at breaking point. And that seems to me to be the combination of things that you've got to do. And look, I'm not denying there'll be a need for difficult decisions if I'm Prime Minister. What I'm not going to do is go down the David Cameron road, which is incredibly extreme spending plans, incredibly extreme cuts, doubling the cuts next year, which I think will be a disaster for local government, for social work, and other areas. Alison, I hope I've answered your point about community nursing. And look, part of the 20,000 new nurses is absolutely about the role that community nursing can play. And then look, the question about agency work and nurses' pay. Look, my sense is that I take the point about pay, and pay is a big issue for nurses. And look, if we were in government, we would be honouring pay review bodies. That's got to be the first principle, is that you honour pay review bodies. But I suppose the other thing I would say is that part of the reason why you're ending up with cost of agency staff is because we don't have the nurses in training, the nurses able to go into the profession, and you end up having to use more agency staff, and that costs more money. So part of the answer is actually to stop the spiralling cost of agency nursing, which actually is a false economy for the NHS. I'm going to take one more round. Ooh, lots of people now want to ask questions. Yeah, there's a gentleman high up at the top. Yeah, the guy's looking around. Yeah.
Hi Ed, I'm Zach.
Hi Zach.
Last year my mother suffered multiple strokes over the course of 24 hours, and it's taken her almost a year to get all of the care that she needs with rehabilitation, benefits and that kind of thing. I was just wondering how long it'll take the next Labour government to start undoing the damage that the Tories have done to people with disabilities in this country.
Okay, yeah, the gentleman who's got the mic, you're taking the microphone around. There's a lady there, yeah.
Hi, I'm Natalie, a psychology and a speech and language therapy student. I've heard a lot of press that the mental health care service for children and adolescent services is going to be improved. There's a lot of plans for that, and that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. It's something that we really, really need. But what's going to happen with adult mental health services? Because there are some ridiculous things going on, like postcode lotteries of where you're going to be assigned, which sometimes means that you can't actually be assigned anywhere, or it takes like months for you to be assigned somewhere should you need that. And it's just like a friend of mine has gone into a psychiatric unit, and she was left in her bed watching ridiculous amounts of Jeremy Kyle just because...
Not good for anyone, I wouldn't have thought.
Just because horrific cuts had happened, that they meant there wasn't actually any activities running in that unit, because things like understaffing meant that nothing like that could happen. So what are your plans to improve things like that within the adult mental health service?
Okay, and the lady next to you.
Hello Ed, I'm Vivian. I've worked at the NHS since 1977 and recently retired. I became very active in trade union work because of a Tory government, and I feel like we're on deja vu at the moment, because we've been here before. and another 5 years of a Tory government would literally cripple the NHS. When Labour came to power, they brought in what we call the National Standards Frameworks, which we don't hear about, which I found was absolutely amazing because it was patient-centred. It brought money to the patients, it brought rights to the patients, it brought much better care to the patients and much better training programmes for staff, and watched the NHS turn completely around into a fantastic care system. Unfortunately, though, Labour did make a few mistakes later on in going down the line with the ISTCs and going along with the PFIs. Now, I know the PFIs were originally John Major's little baby, but Labour did continue with those. And I know that Labour did take some bad advice at the time. What are you going to do this time to protect the NHS that you're not going to get that bad advice that you had last time?
Okay, good. Can you pass the microphone down to the two ladies who are just below? Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Hiya, I'm Francesca, I'm a second-year student nurse. Excellent. And I think it's amazing the fact that you're planning on training 20,000 new nurses. However, staffing ratios at the moment, it's deemed as safe, 1 registered nurse to 8 patients. I was just wondering what you were planning to do with the staffing ratios. Would it change? Because a lot of our practice areas, we do go out on wards and we should be classed as supernumerary. However, there is a lot of times when student nurses aren't classed as supernumerary and we are there on the front line doing the same things as registered nurses with supervision. So I was just wondering, would you be altering the safe staffing ratios?
It's a time like this, I wish Andy Burnham was here to answer difficult questions, but let me, you're basically saying that in the 1 in 8 ratio, student nurses are counted in the 1 in 8. Is that the point you're making?
Classed as supernumerary,
yeah.
But in many different areas, you know, it's well publicised that many wards are understaffed at the moment, so you do end up not being classed as supernumerary and being classed in the staffing.
Understood. Okay, and then the lady next to you.
My name's Amy, I'm a student nurse.
What's your name, I'm sorry?
Amy.
Amy, hi.
Mine's less of a question, more of an invite. It's, if building on Charlotte's question, if you don't know how the student nurses are feeling and the stress that we're under, if you become Prime Minister, why don't you come back and without the cameras, we can be truthful with you, you can be honest with us, and we can come to sort of agreement, and you can actually talk about it.
Okay, Amy, you've got yourself a deal. And also I've got quite a lot of witnesses, or rather you've got quite a lot of witnesses. So you're on. I'll make sure we do it. Right. You're, okay. Now that you put it that way, can we get your microphone?
Hi, my name's Maria, and I just want to say that a family member was rushed to intensive care at Manchester Royal Infirmary in November. He was very seriously ill, and I can't thank the staff enough for saving my child. They're just wonderful. They were wonderful. They put our mind at rest and everything. However, I suffer with fibromyalgia, and due to having the fibromyalgia, I'm very depressed. It took me 14 months to be referred to Gaskell House. I'm now waiting another 9 months to see and get the therapy that I need to adapt to this lifestyle of being disabled and unable to work. We need help, more help for mental health.
Definitely. Okay, thank you, Maria. I'm coming back to the lady on this side. Yeah, I've had two ladies over here. I'm really sorry I can't get everybody in. I'm doing my level best. Oh, sorry, and okay, sorry, and I will come to you.
Hi, I'm Helena.
Yeah.
I'm an artist who works on arts and health projects. I'm not part of the NHS. I'm also a Labour Party member in Stockport and part of the Carbon Co-op there. My question goes back to what you talked about earlier, which is possibly about community and NHS. We've got a lot of young people in the audience. We've got a Greens demonstration outside. My question is, how do we keep people, maybe through environmental work, like insulating people's homes, from not coming into the NHS, particularly in winter? As I see the whole question about the NHS in a holistic way, and that's maybe because of the work I do.
Okay, thanks, Helena. That's a good question. Now I'm going to come to the two ladies here and the gentleman. Oh, go on. Why don't you start and then, yeah.
That makes sense. Hello. My name's Josh. I'm a student physio, first year. I heard you talk about an instant impact to the NHS, and an instant impact to students, and how we're going to have 1,000 new places, and there's going to be a lot of new care workers. I think that's fantastic. I'd like to know, is that sustainable, that growth? Is that the plan? How do you plan to sustain it? And if you do, is that going to be to the detriment of other public services, such as the police force? Because the NHS is fantastic, but as a single entity, it's not as effective without things like the police.
Very good question, Josh. Very good question. And then I'll take the two questions here.
Hi, Ed. Hi, my name's Jen. I'm a student health visitor here at the university. We're part of the health visitor implementation plan. So what we wanted to ask really was what Labour is going to continue to do with kind of investing in health visiting service and also improving outcomes for 0 to 5s.
Just say what you said about the implementation plan, Jen. Sorry.
So we're part of that plan, obviously, and that's coming to the end. So, you know, obviously there's going to be a lot of health visitors out there. Are their jobs going to remain in place? Obviously, due to the different cuts and things that are going to be happening. And obviously, you know, what do you plan to do with continuing?
And are you NHS? You're employed by the NHS, are you?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And I'll come to the same question. I'll take one more. I'll take one more person. I'll take the lady over here. Oh, sorry. Possible.
Hi, Ed. Hi. My name's Helena. I'm a history politics student here at MMU. Thank you.
I mean, there's need for history and politics students as well, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask a quick question about palliative care. I had to deal a lot when my mum had to receive palliative care last year, and a lot of the burden kind of fell down to me. Obviously, being a student and trying to juggle a terminally ill parent is difficult at the best of times. However, when trying to receive care in the community, it was often a struggle to try and get the help that we needed. And I just wondered what you're going to do to make it easier for people who are terminally ill to receive more care in the community.
Okay, really good question. Now let me go to this list of questions, and let me see if I can get everybody's questions who was asked. So Zach asked a question, which was some time ago, about I think it was your mum who'd had a stroke, Zach, was it? And the care they got. Look, I know this is a really important part of the NHS. It goes to this point about an NHS that has proper services in the community, because I think my sense is that NHS immediate stroke care is actually very good.